Well, welcome everybody. Arthur Perez of the Ask My Roofer podcast. I can't tell you how excited I am to have my next guest on the show, Mr. Dashaun Bryant. How you doing, sir?
I'm fantastic, Arthur, man. How you doing?
I'm doing excellent. And before we get into the podcast, I just wanted to thank our sponsors, Dataforma. Dataforma is the premier service provider for service management, project management, and CRM software. You guys, stop wasting your time with multiple systems, multiple apps, tons of different software, CRMs. Dataforma is where you need to be. And with that, Dashaun, so we made the introduction. Let's talk about you a little bit. So tell the listeners a little bit about Dashaun Bryant and what you do.
Yeah, well, before I even get that, man, I just want to say I appreciate you having me on the show. It's always an honor and a privilege to be able to have access to other people's community. Yeah. And for people to reach out to me, man, it's always an honor. I never take it lightly of like, oh, yeah, I need to be on this show. I take every opportunity like it's my last, man. So I just want to say I appreciate you having me on. But a little bit about myself. I've been in the roofing industry. It'll be 6 years in February. It was a complete mistake. Never wanted to sign up for sales. Never wanted to knock doors. I had the ideal image, Arthur, of the way you make it is you get a job at Publix or one of these, retail stores, and you become a manager, and then you're the guy.
Right.
And then I got introduced to sales, and, I didn't know it was door-to-door sales. They just told me I had something I thought you'd be great at. And I've always been awesome with people. Like a lot of people don't know, but they see how comfortable I am on camera and the things that I do. I used to take performing art classes when I was like 8 years old. So I used to act. I used to do ballroom dancing. Like I used to do all those things. So I used to be very comfortable in front of people. So when I found out it was door to door, I'm like, I love people. All I got to do is talk to them.
Right.
Let's go. So that's how I got into the door to door industry. And I tell you one thing for sure, man, I knew nothing about roofing. It took me 2 years to find out what a drip edge was.
Right.
I didn't know how to build a roofing system. One thing I mastered the art of was people and how to get people to sign paperwork. And I just fell in love with it. The time, the freedom. I'm a stay-at-home dad. I've been taking care of my kids since they were born. My son 5, my daughter's 3. So the job gave me the opportunity to have my time and make money. One of my sayings is part-time hours, full-time money. So, I got into the industry and it's changed my life, man, and I never looked back. And like I said, so knocking doors for 6 years and Roof Hustlers, I've been building that for the last 3 years.
Yeah, so let's talk on Roof Hustlers. Let's talk about that. So what is Roof Hustlers?
Yes, sir. So Roof Hustlers, it was created from a lack of. Usually that's how every entrepreneur, every inventor creates something. Like if you study Henry Ford said he didn't tell people he wanted to make a faster horse. He said, what's more important to you? How you get to the destination or how fast you get there?
Right.
And everybody's like, I want to get there faster. It's like, all right, cool beans. So, he created the car. So about 2 years in the industry, I noticed that it was a big lack of training.
Yeah.
When I got brought in, man, they took me out 2 days, Arthur, and after that, they said, you got it.
And did you have it?
I didn't have it. Like, I didn't know what you got it mean. Like, I know I was born with it because I could talk and deal with people, but like, what do I got? But, I'm a very confident guy. So I went out there, I closed 4 deals my first week, just off of pure charisma. So we hit about year 2.5 in the industry. And, I discovered Grant Cardone, and he kind of changed my whole perspective on things, man. He really opened up my eyes and my mind. And I was listening to one of his shows, and one of his shows said, you got to find the gaps in your industry.
Right.
And I just went to thinking, I'm like, the roofing industry suck at training.
Yeah.
So I was like, you know what? I'm going to be the guy. I'm going to create free YouTube. I'm going to give these guys all the gems, all the nuggets that they need to be successful. So nobody behind me that come into this industry got to struggle. And I say that, and I want guys to understand, man, you don't need permission. You don't need certifications. You don't need paperwork in order to, become an expert in your field. You just got to have the confidence, the courage to take that leap. Because I was one of the first few guys out there that started, giving out free YouTube. So I wasn't an expert roofer. I wasn't even a super seasoned salesman. I was 2 years into the game of sales.
Right.
So, I don't want guys to think that you got to do this for 6-7 years before you can start teaching other people. And I've been training for 4 years. So I got into the industry. Like I said, when I got hired, my owner told me, he said, you're going to be my trainer. I said, no, I'm not. I'm just going to make money and mind my business. He was like, all right, just watch and see. And I say that to say, when somebody sees something in you, believe it. Like when you can't see it in yourself, when somebody else can see something in you that you can't see, You believe that, man. And if I fought that, I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. So roof a the lack of improper training, the lack of teaching people how to deal with people, the lack of giving guys the reality of what this door-to-door roofing industry is. And I wanted to help them, man. I wanted to be that guy for them. And I do this for the hustlers. I love owners, but I do this for the hustlers, the ground level people that go out there and put the work in.
Yeah, the boots on the field. So let's talk about kind of your industry.
Yeah.
I'm watching your videos on YouTube. I'm watching your social media, loving everything that you're doing. But what you're talking about doesn't make sense to me in the fact that we don't have weather in California. So can you educate the rest of the nation on the storm restoration industry and kind of because, you know, when we're talking about roof sales, we don't have hailstorms. We don't have these things that cause a need for someone to go door to door. You know, we're still trying to meet them in different avenues. And maybe it's something that we need to adapt locally, you know, not just in Florida, but, you know, in the Midwest, out here in the West, in California. Talk about your industry.
Well, I was talking to my fiance about that last night when you told me that y'all don't get weather. I was like, I thought everybody got storms. Like, you know how you in one spot for so long, you think that's just how the world works? And then, you know, you go to Canada and you find out they got milk in the bag. And you're like, what? Milk in the bag? So what we do over here in Florida is we bless, first and foremost, Florida is the best, hottest storm restoration market in the nation.
Right.
I don't care what nobody say. Minnesota get good hail, all those things, but nothing is more consistent than the state of Florida. Mm-hmm. We could just be chilling on a day like this, Arthur, and it'll just get dark. We'll get 50 miles per hour winds that'll come through for 2 hours, and we just got a storm.
Wow.
And we can go right out in the field after that, and we can start collecting and knocking doors. But what we do over here in Florida is we blessed. We get hailstorms, we get windstorms, we just get surges, we get all microbursts, we get all these little types of weather events. And what it does is it causes damage to homeowners' properties. It knocks shingles off roofs, it gives them hail damage. And what we do is we come behind them and we knock doors and we offer free roof inspections. And if they have enough storm-related damage, we get them an entire roof replacement and we get the insurance company to pay for it. But one of the things that makes Florida so golden, since we're such a high wind, high storm, you know, risk state, we got a lot of laws and regulations that play into our favor. Like we got the 25% rule. In the state of Florida, if you only got 25% or more storm-related damage, insurance company obligated to replace the entire roof. You go somewhere like Texas, they got 50%.
Yeah.
You go to certain places, they got 75%. Down here in Florida, we got we do brittle tests. They got unrepairability where if we get on a 17-year-old roof and one of the shingles, the brittleness don't work, they'll replace the entire roof.
Wow.
You know, and we got a lot of old neighborhoods here in Florida. So even if the storm isn't that crazy, you can step into a neighborhood that's 16 to 20 years old, and those roofs just unrepairable. So you find a little bit of wind damage on that roof, and you getting the roof paid for entirely by the insurance company. I had a 47 square, only 8 crease shingles on a 47 square roof, and they paid for the entire.
Wow.
Yeah, but it was a 17-year-old roof, 17 years old. Yeah. So we got a lot of awesome laws and regulations that play into our favor over here in Florida. Right. But yeah, man, the storm restoration is a gold mine. I tell everybody, Arthur, the roofing industry as a whole is the 8th wonder of the world. It's the best kept secret. And people just think of roofers, and unfortunately, they think of the guys on the roof.
Right.
They don't think about people like ourselves, the guys that's out there selling it, the face of the companies. And the way that the roofing industry pay is awesome, and the way that the storm restoration pay is phenomenal because we get to supplement for items that the insurance company forget.
Right.
So that makes it even more better. So I don't got to charge my homeowner for ice and water. I don't got to charge my homeowner for hip and ridge shingles. I'm billing the insurance company for it. And we just had a job down in like Sarasota, Bradenton area over here in Florida. Mm-hmm. 18 squares. I got it to go for $15,000.
That's wild.
Yeah, that's 700 well what it came out to.
That's incredible.
Yeah, so that's the beauty of this industry.
Let's touch on that really quickly because, you know, we don't have the huge insurance roofing industry cohesion like you guys have. And when we do have things that go to insurance, it's a battle. So Florida has laws and things like that that allow you to benefit, you know, your clients, right? So you can go in and get them what they deserve. Talk about that dynamic between the insurance industries and the roofing industry in Florida.
So it's a great book called Delay, Deny, and Defend, Why Insurance Companies Don't Pay and What You Can Do About It. Okay. And I tell guys all the time, never lie to your homeowner and say we work with the insurance company. We don't work with the insurance company.
Right. Right.
We specialize in dealing with the insurance company. Those are two different things. Because
Right.
I've been doing it for 6 years. I've never filed a claim in the insurance company saying, I'm so glad you stopped by their house. We're going to give you a lot of money. We're going to pay you, man. Thank you so much for taking care of the community. It's never been like that.
Right.
So when you're dealing with insurance companies, I tell guys, you have to be on your A game. You can't just be a door-to-door salesman. You need to become a professional door-to-door salesman. And the difference between some of these guys versus myself, I taught myself how to read policies. I taught myself all the codes in the state. So when I go to a homeowner house, I'm not just filing a claim, I'm reading the policies so I can get all the little nitty gritty things that I need to know. So when I file this claim and I'm dealing with the insurance company, I know all the pain points I can hit with that insurance company so I can make sure my homeowner get a brand new roof. And these insurance companies, they don't want to pay. And if they, let me phrase that, they want to pay, but they want to pay the minimum as possible.
Right.
So you as a salesman, you have to take it a step further than the guy that just filed a claim. You got to become the guy that know how to work a claim. Like my big brother Lee Hayes say, man, you got to learn how to sell, you got to learn how to build, you got to learn how to collect. If you're only a great door-to-door roof salesman, man, you literally just like the ground level part of this industry. You got to be the guy that know how to work a claim, step in and ask for a re-inspection, you know, point out the damage, learn how to orchestrate the claim and not just file it. And as you learn how to deal with these insurance companies, read insurance policies, and learn your laws and regulations of your state, you become invaluable in this industry. And, you know, you're hard. They can't compare to you. You know what I mean? You can outdo the competition tremendously.
So when you say industry, you are invaluable to the industry, but to me that means nationwide. So I've actually seen you do a bit of traveling. You were in Phoenix recently. Can you talk about how your strategies translate nationally and what you're doing to help contractors nationally?
First of all, shout out to everybody that's brought me out this year. I've trained 10 companies.
Oh, nice.
Honored and, you know, privileged, blessed. God definitely did all of that work. I tell everybody I do the sowing, God do the growing. You know, I just put in the work and he do the rest. But yeah, I was blessed to go out and train 10 companies this year. And what makes it even cooler, it was none. I didn't solicit nobody. They all came to me and was like, do you come train? And I said, yes. So what I do is so universal because I tell everybody the one thing every state got in common is people and roofs.
Yeah.
And I know how to deal with people.
Yeah.
And I know how to get on roofs.
And if they don't have a roof, then they really need your number, right?
Exactly. So we really, I go, my script that I use is universal. I take it there and I apply my script to every state that I go to show these people like, it don't matter I'm in Florida. That ain't why I close deals. Right. I close deals because I'm foundational. I'm principle based. It's a process that I have to what I do that is so universal and it doesn't break that. I want to teach you the same process. And as you learn it, if you ever was to leave this state and go to another state and get hired by another roofing company, you got a process. You got a format that works for you no matter where you go. And one of the biggest things that I do when I go train companies, man, I give them a reality check.
Yeah.
I give them a big reality check. A lot of guys content. A lot of guys have made a little bit of money and they feel they smelling themselves. You know, they think they're a little bit better than what they are. And they're doing it for the wrong reasons. And what I say by that, they're doing it for the money. They're doing it for the cars, the trucks. And I tell them, how can you say, I ask guys sometimes, I say, what you love about this job? They say, I love helping people. Say, you mean that? They're like, yeah, what you mean? Do I mean that? I love helping people. I said, so why you skip those then?
Right? Exactly.
Oh, man, well, then stop lying and say you do it to help people. Because if you really do it to help people, you're going to knock every door. Like, you don't got the right to give somebody the choice whether they want an inspection or not. You let them tell you that.
Yeah.
And then another thing that I do that's the most impactful thing when I go train companies is I do one-on-ones with all the guys. So how we sitting down and having a conversation, I have really deep, intimate conversations with these guys. That's not about their numbers. That's not about their goals. But we talk about goals, but it's a little bit different. Like, you know, I've been to some companies and the last company I just went to in Maryland, me and one of the guys were sitting down and, you know, I study psychology. I go to psychology. Like I go to therapy myself every 2 weeks because yourself is the hardest thing to figure out. So I'm always trying to figure this thing out.
You've been roofing for too long.
Yeah, you know what I mean? I've been through some stuff. I met my therapist knocking doors. That's the even crazier part. But I spent time with these guys. And one of the guys I was with, man, we discovered that he actually had mom issues. Like he was so disconnected from his mom that he was disconnected from the women in his life, and he had no real care for nothing. So he didn't care about nothing. He just didn't care. He just, when he would close a deal, he would be so disconnected from his homeowners because he didn't learn how to have compassion and consideration for people that he was just trying to be in and out, close the deal and be gone. And I was like, bro, you got to care about these people. And I'm like, but it's hard for you to care about people because the main woman in your life you're supposed to love and teach you care, she did it. So it's hard for you to transfer that to other people. So when I'm going down and sitting with these guys doing these one-on-ones, man, we unpacking deep stuff. We talking leadership. We talking personal life. We talking parenthood. We talking relationships. And I really help them get a good cleanse. Yeah. And then I revamp them, send them back out there on their grind, man, and they got a whole new perspective. They feeling fresh. It's almost like they got baptized, you know what I mean? And now they get to start fresh.
You're out here performing heart surgery too.
Yeah, it's bigger. I sit down with some guys, Arthur, and they say, man, it's crazy. We ain't talk about a roof one time. And I'm like, I'm bigger than roofs, bro. It's just, roof's just what I sell, you know.
Service is universal and compassion is as well. And I think that, you know, that's kind of your bread and butter, the compassion that you have for, you know, potential clients, not even just clients, but maybe potential clients. Because like you said, you know, everybody deserves the opportunity to be made whole. Right.
Yeah. You know, I use the example. I say, imagine being in a grocery store, Arthur, and you in line, there's 5 of y'all in line, and the lady look at you and say, not you. I'll ring up the guy behind you. And then they skip the next guy. I'm like, that's what you doing to homeowners. Yeah. Like, that would make you feel so crappy in a grocery store that somebody look at you and say, nah, you don't look like you don't got no money. And they just shoo you out the way.
Yeah.
That's what these sales guys doing to homeowners.
Yeah. That's tough. It is tough, but that's a great example. I'm going to actually take that. I'm going to start using that as well.
Yeah, that's awesome, man.
So in terms of a timid salesman or somebody who's missing doors, what would be your top 3, or as you like to say, your top 1, right? Because they're all evil level playing field when it comes to the top numbers. So what would you say to a timid salesman?
So one thing I would say to a timid salesman, and this not even pertaining to my 11 door-to-door roof commandments, but the first thing I say to a timid salesman is know why you're doing this.
Yeah.
Because if you're doing this for money, if you're doing this for if you're doing this for anything that's not bigger than you, you're going to stay timid.
Yeah.
You're going to stay going home. And guys say they do things for their family. Oh, man, it's all about my family. I do this because of my family. So if you're doing it for your family, how don't you go out there 6 days a week, 5-7 hours a day, and you just go balls to the wall and you kill it? So the first thing I'm going to tell a timid sales guy, find out why you're doing this. Yeah. Find out why you actually wake up and go knock doors, because you need a different level of drive to knock doors when it's 95 degrees outside, 88 humidity, and it's just you sweating bullets.
Yeah.
You need a different level of drive when it's 44 degrees outside, but it ain't snow yet, but you can still possibly get up on the roof, but it's cold, your knuckles hurt. You need a big why to get out there and go do that. So I tell everybody, man, find out why you do this. So that's the first thing I'm going to tell this timid salesman. Second thing I'm going to tell a timid salesman is timid salesmen got skinny kids.
Yeah, absolutely.
Point blank, period. So the second thing, man, just act in the face of fear. Like, you know, if you ever watched that Will Smith movie with him and his son, and like he trapped in the spaceship and he sent Jaden out there and he teaching him to overcome fear. I tell guys that, I say, man, you scared of something that's not real. You done made the boogeyman up in your head. These homeowners gonna curse you out. The homeowners gonna do this, they gonna do that. And now you say, man, this ain't the place for me, and you just leave. So that second thing I'm gonna tell you is get out of your head and just be in the field. Right. Just be present. Be where your feet are. Because if you're not where your feet are, that means you somewhere else. And I know so many guys that are literally knocking doors, but they drinking.
Right.
Like physically, they in the field. Mentally, they having drinks.
Right.
So they're not even, you know, connected to where they feet at. So that timid salesman, get out of your head. Just be present. Be where your feet are. And then the third thing I'm going to tell them, man, is just listen. Successful people do the things that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. Mm-hmm. So most people see what we do as door to door doing this, and they don't deem that as a prestige job or hot. So if most people are not willing to do it, you need to be willing to do it. You need to go out there and work in those high-end neighborhoods. You need to drive. I tell guys all the time, Arthur, they say, man, that's an hour drive. I say, the farther you drive, the more money you make. You know, the small percentage of people that more than make that hour and 15-minute drive, not a lot.
Right.
So you go there, you'll probably be the only guy there. You'll probably be one of the few people that can take care of these people. So do everything that the unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. So first and foremost, find out why you're doing this. Second of all, be present, be where your feet are, get out of your head, get in the field. And the third thing, man, do everything that average people won't do. If the average person go home at 3 o'clock, you go home at 5 o'clock. Right. The average person knock 50 doors, you knock 80 doors.
Yeah.
So if it's average, don't do it. If the unsuccessful people do it, you don't do it. And those are 3 things I would tell a timid salesman.
I love it, man. And those are all great. So I'd love to transition a little bit to social media, to brand awareness. So that's actually how I met you, was through social media. Found you through a roofing hashtag, started checking out all your stuff. How big of a role has social media played in your life and the growth of Roof Hustlers?
Well, first and foremost, man, I'm a 90s baby. I was born in 1990. So we are pretty much the catalyst of social media.
Yeah.
You know, we had AOL growing up. You know, we had MySpace, we had Facebook. Like, we was the first generation of people that experienced social media. And I believe we got it in the healthiest way because we didn't get it while we were in high school. Yeah. So we wasn't in the comparison thing. We just got it like maybe college, stuff like that. So social media is huge into my life. I'm not consumed by it, but I do understand the importance of it.
Right.
And I was born in the best generation ever, in my opinion, because I'm in a generation where you can start a business off of YouTube.
Yeah.
You know, like I started YouTube channels. I started a YouTube channel, created the videos, created the Instagram, and 3 years later, I get paid a handsome amount to go out and go train companies. I don't have a website. I don't got an LLC. And I need to get all that stuff going because I need to get a little bit more professional myself. But that's the power of social media. Absolutely. So I encourage guys, you're a business within a business. You need to put your personal business out there. Yeah. So even if you come up with your own creative Instagram name, Facebook name, whatever it may be, you need to use social media to get yourself out there if you want to use it to sell roofs. And if you want to use it to build a brand, that's even 10 times more powerful because the hashtag, like you said, you found me off a hashtag. Yeah. When I first started, I paid a guy to run my Instagram. But I'm one of those guys, I like to figure things out. So I let him run it for 2 months. I said, all right, I see everything you're doing. I don't need you no more. And I started using this hashtags, doing everything. And the brand is so attractive because what it does is it allows people to get a glimpse into your everyday life.
Right.
So the people that have been rocking with me since 2017, they feel like they're a part of this journey. Mm-hmm. They like, man, we training and traveling now. You know, like it's a we thing, not just a Dashaun thing. So social media has allowed people to, you know, see my family, see my kids, see me transition from when I first had a different logo to switch the logo. So the social media, what it does is it allows people to buy into your journey. And then if you're using it to create sales, it allows people to see who you are as a person versus getting on Google and seeing a bunch of good reviews, but they see you, Arthur the Roofer, and then they follow you. And then I got homeowners that follow my Instagram. I got homeowners that follow my YouTube. And they say, man, you're amazing. I love what you do. So they get to see what I actually do outside of selling roofs. And it enhances my credibility even more because they know that I go train and coach. And then also it's a not a negative side, but it's another side to it that they hold me to a higher standard now. Right. Because they see what I do. So they put me up there, not just your average roofer. Right. So I think brand awareness is so important, man. You need to learn the hashtags. You need to learn the right times to post. You need to, you know, get very uncomfortable because a lot of people, man, I don't like to be on social media. Well, I'm like, that's the place you need to be because if nobody knows you, you'll never become a millionaire.
Absolutely. And you have to go where your clients are. You know, we're on our phones constantly and that's what we're looking up. You know, we spend hours a day, you know, just looking at content. So being able to get comfortable with being in front of a camera, creating content, putting it out to people who could be potential clients. You never know who's watching what you're putting out. You know what I mean?
You don't. And an example of that today, right before I got on the podcast, shout out to my boy Steven with Door-to-Door Experts, man. Love those guys. He sent me a video of him consulting another roofing company. And the guy in the company is talking to him. He was like, yeah, man, the first guy I ever found was, I think his name, Roof Hustlers, man. He got 11 door-to-door roof commandments. And, man, he's right. I follow his stuff, and it works. It works. Yeah. And I'm just like, you never know who watching.
Yeah, absolutely.
You never know who watching. Yeah, and it's like the movie Field of Dreams. If you build it, they will come. You will always, your voice will always attract your tribe. Yeah. They're going to hear that voice, and they're going to say, that's my guy. And they will come find you, man. So that's why I tell everyone, anybody who want to get into what I do in my industry, I teach them. I'm not that guy that's like, I ain't finna get, no, I teach them. Why? You're not going to take what's meant for me, bro.
Right.
It don't matter to me. I teach you the game. I give you the formula. That's why I do the free YouTube. I give it to them. You know? So yeah, I think you gotta build your own brand. It's 2020, man. You are a brand yourself. And if you're foolish enough to think that you're just a human and not a brand, you're missing out on a lot of money.
Yeah. And that's the name of the game, right? Helping people and making money.
Amen.
Yep. So you've been doing this for a little bit. Do you have a funny story or a inspirational story you'd like to share during your experience, your time going door to door?
That's a great question, because I got a lot of inspirationals. I got some funny ones as well, and I'm gonna go the funny route because the inspirational one cool, but the funny one is hilarious. So I'm in the historical district of Tampa. Okay. So that is like the old part of Tampa. It's like 1920 houses, all these things. So I'm working in the neighborhood. It's one of those days I didn't prepare like I should have. So I just pulled over, jumped out, and I'm knocking. I'm doing my thing. So I see this house, man, old rundown house. And I like, man, I don't know if I should knock it. Like, it almost looked like a witch or somebody lived there. But I'm like, I hustle with principles, man. We knock every door. So I come, I knock on the door. They're like, I'm busy. So I knock on the door again, do. The damage was so bad, I had to keep knocking. So I knock again.
Right.
Door swing open. I tell you, no lie, Arthur, it's a dude come to the door. He got on a white halter top. He got on Daisy Duke shorts. And he got on woman pumps and a blonde wig. Mm-hmm. And I've been knocking doors for 6 years. That's the only thing that's ever scared me. Like, I jumped at, I said, like, he came to the door, and I was like, oh, man. And he was like, what? And I had to regroup real quick. And I'm like, man, this is what I'm doing. He's like, I don't want nothing. And I'm like, okay, good, man. I'm going to just leave some information. And I just walked away, and like, I was tainted for like 5 to 10 minutes, because I don't know if you know what that's like, man, to get somebody to come to. I mean, wig was all messed up, halter top, blue short shorts, like super short.
Daisy Dukes.
Daisy Dukes, literally Daisy Dukes, with some woman pumps on.
Right.
And he opened the door. He's like, nah, man, I'm good. And oh, man, how you doing today, man? My name is Dashaun. I just tried to regroup, but, man, that was probably one of the funniest stories that I've had experience-wise. That one and the pregnant lady story, that was pretty fun, too. So what happened with the pregnant lady? We might as well just get on with it. So I'm out there knocking doors, I'm doing my thing. Lady outside, she chilling. I'm like, hey, how you doing today? She's like, I'm great. I'm like, awesome. 1 second, baby. I'm like, awesome, man. Hey, how you doing? She's like, I'm good. I'm like, when you do? She said, I'm not. Oh. And you're not the only person that done said that to me. I said, you know what? I'm just going to leave. You have a great day. And I just walked off.
That's a tough one.
I just walked off. I mean, it was legit, though, man. I'm like, that's legit a pregnant belly. I done seen my girl pregnant twice. She got to be pregnant. And I'm like, when you do? She said, I'm not. I was like,
you know what? I've made that mistake too. I know how that feels, and there's no coming back from that.
You can't come back from that one, bro.
You got to bow down and peacefully just walk away.
I could. And her roof was messed up. That was the worst part.
So you didn't sell either of those jobs,
No, not either one of them. I ain't selling either. Right. No.
You would have been a magician to pull off either of those. I think.
When I jumped, I already knew I lost it.
Right. So you do events, you do speaking, things like that. I've seen you at RoofCon. Do you have anything coming up that you want to let the listeners know about?
I have nothing coming up personally. Right. I did just have the honor of speaking at RoofCon.
Yeah.
So also I may be a part of the door-to-door Con 4. I'm not 100%, but me and Sam, we're building a pretty solid relationship. But on top of that, I do want to let everybody know the $1 Million Hustler program, which is my 5-week online coaching program. It is open for enrollment. We'll be starting new enrollment December 1st. So any guys that do door-to-door that's looking to take their game to that next level, you definitely want to be in the $1 Million Hustler program. And then also me and my big brother Lee, I think we got an event coming up March of next year. So that's definitely something guys want to be on the lookout for as well.
Awesome. And then where can we get that information on it? Where can we find out all things Roof Hustlers?
I'm easy to find. Roof Hustlers everywhere. Just literally Roof Hustlers, one word, YouTube, Instagram. And on Facebook, I'm Dashaun Bryant. So I'm like a little bit of myself on Facebook.
Right.
But I apologize, my daughter right here, man. She is.
No, it's all right. It's okay. So is there anything else that you want to plug before we get out of here and let you go?
Anything that I want to plug? Yeah, I do want to let everybody know, man. I got the book that I created. It's called The Hustler's Guide to Door to Door. If you listen to the podcast and you're interested in learning a little bit more about who I am, what I do, how we help people, email me, roofhustlers@gmail.com. Get a free copy of The Hustler's Guide to Door to Door. And I'll do something special, man, for the guys that hit me up from this podcast, for your listeners. I'll also give them a free 15-minute coaching call, man, just to show some love. So if they hit me up and say, man, we found you from the Ask My Roofer podcast, we want the Hustler Guide to Door to Door, super interested in the 15-minute coaching call, I showed them some love on that, man, just kind of critique their game, help them out a little bit. But yeah, that's just something I'm just doing for your listeners, man. So anybody that tell me they found me from this podcast, I show them some love. Hustler's Guide to Door to Door, free 15-minute coaching call, man, so we can possibly tweak a couple things in your game and help take you to that next level. Well,
we appreciate that. And you know, all the coaching we can get, the better. You're an absolute stud at what you do. I appreciate you being on the show and taking the time with us. We'll definitely plug your social media and just tag everything to you so our listeners can find you, and that way they can take advantage of that free 15-minute call with you and kind of sharpen their tools a little bit. So
yes,
thank you. We appreciate it.
No, I got to take them home, Arthur. I don't mean to cut you off, but, you know, as always, baby, let everybody know man, hustle hard, hustle smart, and don't be afraid to bogart.
You heard it here first, guys. This is the Ask My Roofer podcast. Dashaun, thank you so much. And as always, stay safe on those roofs out there, guys.